What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Leafs Chatter. I'm not going to go over the game. Leafs lost yesterday. It was a garbage display of hockey. I think we can all collectively agree on that. It was just a terrible game. But that's not why we're here today. We're going to go over potential free agency targets for the Maple Leafs in the offseason. This is just considering if, we don't make a massive deal or we don't try and get like a big fish in the market like a Robertson or a Tuck. These are just guys that I think will help the culture and just overall make the team better. If you're not looking to make a drastic change or a drastic move, again, it sounds like Keith Pelly wants to keep foundational pieces. So that would mean that you're keeping guys like Willie, you're keeping guys like Matthews, possibly still Riley, depending on if he waves or not. But this is strictly just for the forwards. I haven't really looked into the D yet, but just forwards, this is who I think we should go after, or at least some of the guys. And I think it's got to be at least 3 or 4 of these guys you got to sign, because just getting 1 or 2 of them, we've done that before, and it did nothing for the culture, did nothing for the team. So getting into it now.
My favorite one out of the bunch is Charlie Coyle. I think Charlie Coyle would be an amazing asset to the team. He can play pretty much anywhere in your lineup. He could play as a winger, a center. I would possibly see him as a center, a second line center, where you can have the ability to either put Johnny on the wing, you could bring Johnny to the third line. You can pretty much do whatever you want at that point with a guy like Charlie Coyle. He's center depth. Like, Johnny's a good player. He's been playing okay this year, but he's getting older. And to be fair, Charlie Coyle is like 34 too, but I mean, he's still putting up like over 50 points a season, and he plays the game the right way. Yeah, he's getting up there in age, but if you could sign him to like a short-term deal, I'm not really sure what he's looking for, but anywhere from, you know, 2 to 4 years, I think he'd be a good fit. Like, just look at his stats here. I mean, this year it's not finished yet, it's almost done, but he's got 18 goals, 38 assists for a total of 56 points. I mean, he lays a lot of hits. He's pretty good in the playoffs. I think he's, again, a good addition to the team. He's consistent in terms of what he can bring on a night-to-night basis. He's very durable, too. That's another thing that's important. There are some guys on the list that maybe aren't as durable, like, for example, a Boone Jenner when we get into him. But Coyle's, I think, a pretty durable player. He's had multiple 82-game seasons, as you can see. So I think he's a good fit for the team. And again, he could play on your second line if you wanted to, or you could put him on the third. I think he's more of a second line player, especially in the center role. And for this team especially, like, we can use the center depth. Next one is Michael Bunting. You guys all know that I love Michael Bunting. I loved him when he played with the Leafs. I've thought that he would be a good pickup at the end of the deadline if we were to make the playoffs. Obviously, we didn't. I think he'd be a good fit. You put him on the top line. He played really good with Matthews. Now, him playing with Nyes, his chippiness, I think, is like, he's not the toughest guy, but he's chippy. He'll step in for teammates. He's kind of a pest to play against, and maybe Nyes can learn a few things from playing with a guy like Bunting. And yeah, like, Michael Bunting's not a bad player at all. Like, he has 33 points this year. He's on that Predators team, and when he was on that team, they weren't doing too good. But look at his stats. I mean, 63 points when he was with the Leafs. That was his contract year, I believe. I think it was one of his. No, sorry, not his contract year. That one there was his first season with us, and then he played again with us. That's when he ended up getting dealt the next year after that. But look, 63, 49, 55. He was doing pretty good. And then this year, 31 points with, not a not so good Nashville team, and then got traded to Dallas, where a little bit of a slow start for him. But I do like him. I think he would be a good addition. Now, getting into Evander Kane. I think Evander Kane is a guy who slept on. I know he's older and he's not the same as he was before, but he has 31 points in 71 games this year. He missed a couple games due to injury, and he's on a dog shit Vancouver team. So, I mean, you could take it with a grain of salt, whatever you need, but he used to play with big dogs. He used to be on a line with the Draisaitl's and McDavids. So, I mean, if this guy were to come to the Leafs, I could totally see him in a role either playing with Matthews or playing with Willie, just to add that physical element to the team. Like, this is a guy I definitely think we should add. I mean, because he's not complete dog shit. He's not a bum in terms of production. I mean, if look at his last 5 years, 47 points, 49 points, 39, 28, but that was only in 41 games. And the 39 points was also in 43 games. And then he had 77 games with Edmonton, got 44 points, 24 goals. Like this guy's a bona fide 20 goal guy usually, and with the right guys, he can easily be a 40 to 50 point guy for the Leafs. Now, I don't know how much he would cost. A lot of these guys, it all depends on cost. I mean, I try and sign as many of them as I can. I know it's rumored that we're supposed to have, I think unless it was wrong, but I saw on Cappedia, it said that the Leafs are going to have a projected 20 million in cap space or something like that. So I mean, you could definitely do some damage, but yeah, I think he'd be a good addition to the team. Same with Boone Jenner. Getting into Boone now, I think he's a great player. The only problem with Boone is that he's very injury prone. And that's the one thing with him. He could still get points and he's physical. He has, like, again, all these guys play with that same brand of hockey. And I think that's important. And Boone Jenner, I think, would be a great addition to the team. But the only problem is, because we're going to be getting into his stats right now, look, he's not very durable. He doesn't have a lot of 82 game seasons like Coyle. I mean, he hasn't played a full 82 game season since 2016, 2017. So, I mean, I know 77 is pretty much all of that season, but it's still not a full season. I feel like that's the problem with Jenner, but again, if he can come for a decent cap hit, I mean, I feel like he'd be a good addition. He'd be a good third line guy for our team. So again, it all depends on what they'd be willing to take. I mean, I think guys like Marchment, Coyle, I think those guys are going to be wanting more money, but we'll see what happens. Now, getting into Corey Perry, the guy's old. He's older now. But fuck, can this guy still pot goals? This guy can still pot. He can play the game the right way. He is older, but you could literally put him on like your second line and he'll play just fine. He was playing with McDavid at times, which is crazy. But I mean, I don't know if he'd come here. I mean, he had so many opportunities to come to the Leafs and he never did. So I don't know if it's something that he's open to. I mean, now he's with Tampa. He might just want to stay with them. This is just an option. I don't think we actually get Corey Perry, but I mean, he would be a sick addition, like just for, second line or even just the bottom six. Like look at his production. Like with Edmonton, 81 games, he got 30 points, almost 20 goals, 36 points, 28 points. Like now with Tampa Bay, he's got 8. Like he's a good player for his age. Like he's managed to stay in the league as long as he had, or as long as he has, and he's been a great player. So the next guy we have here is Mason Marchment. Everyone knows who he is. He's a bit of a pest, but he's a big body, 6'5", 212 pounds, and he can get points. He's like a 40 to 60 point guy depending on the year. I mean, he didn't play a full 82 game season this year, so he's probably on track for about 60 points, which, that's amazing. Like I think that if you're looking at who we should go after, it's Mason Marchment's on there. Like if you look at his point totals there, he's a stud. Again, he gets like 47, 50 points. You play him with the right people, he could be a 60 point guy for the Leafs. But again, you have to surround him with guys who can produce. And again, he's a guy that plays hard, physical. He's like a Charlie Coyle, in my opinion, just a little more of a rat. And I feel like if we're trying to see what, top guys we can get in terms of free agency signings for our top 6, I think Marchment and Coyle have to be at the top of that list. And shortly behind them is got to be like an Evander Kane. I don't think we're going to get Corey Perry. I'd put him over Evander Kane, honestly, but I'd take Evander Kane in a heartbeat. All right, now getting into some of the bottom 6 guys, more of the bottom 6 dudes. Brandon Duhaime is someone that kind of jumps out to me just because he's a hard worker. He's still 28, so he's still pretty young. He's with the Capitals right now. He's not a points guy. Everyone knows who Brandon Duhaime is. He's not a points guy by any means, but he's a pretty tough dude. He can throw his body around. He's gonna get you like, anywhere from 10 to 15 points maybe in a season. Like this guy would probably be an upgrade to, like a Pizzetta, for example. A guy that plays hard every night. Like he's a -2 on the Capitals, and they were decent this year, but like they're not like a crazy good team. Um, but yeah, I think he's a decent player just to add. Like he had a really good season with Washington the year prior when Washington was actually really good, and he was a +3. He had 21 points. Like I can see him taking a role like that in our bottom six, just like Michael McCarron. Michael McCarron, big body. If I had to choose between the two, I'd probably go with McCarron. He's a little bit older, but he has more point production success, in my opinion, than Duhaime. And McCarron's just a beast. He's 6'6", 232. I feel like you need to have a monster, at least one, like just a big, tough customer on your team for when times get tougher, and you need to have a guy that can jump in there and maybe fight a Zadorov, because Zadorov's in our division. Fighting a guy like Cernak and just bigger guys on teams. You need to have somebody for that, because I like Pizzetta. I think he's a burst of energy. He's a nail gun. It's gonna be tougher for him to fight like a lot of the bigger guys, because he's more of like a middleweight in my opinion. I think McCarron would be a great addition to the team. Like even when you're looking at his point totals, like 22 points, 14, 15. Like his point production is pretty bang on every year. He'll put anywhere from 15 to like 20 points a season. But he had a really good year with Nashville in 2023 and 2024 when he had 12 goals for 22 points. But yeah, he's a tough customer. I think he'd be a good addition to the team. I could totally see him on the fourth line for sure. Now, I just did this quick on Twitter, but this is kind of what I'm hoping the team would look like. Again, if we make no changes in terms of foundational pieces, no big trades, just strictly signing free agency players, you could have a fourth line of potentially McCarron, Lawton, and Joshua, which is big. They can, they're good defensively. They're physical. They would mesh well together. Then you got a third line of Johnny T, Domi, and Evander Kane. That would be a great line. Although Johnny T and Kane are older, Kane is not slow, not as slow as Johnny. And, I feel like that would be a decent line. You could always switch it up. I'm just spitballing here. And then your second line, you got Cowan, Coyle, and Willie. That would be a pretty good line. I think Cowan would learn a lot from Coyle about, his style of play. I wouldn't take any notes from Willie, because Willie's a pussy. We all know that. He's not going to play super physical. That's why you need a guy like Coyle in there. And then, Cowan, hopefully he beefs up, puts up like 15, 20 pounds, and then he'll be ready for the season. And then you can have a first line of Nyes, Matthews, and again, Marchment or Bunting. I'd prefer Marchment. It'd be more expensive to get him over Bunting just because bigger guys, better style of play. I think a little bit more offensively inclined, but again, like this is just spitballing here. And I think the Leafs have some good guys in the Marlies right now. I think Landon Sim is the closest thing that we're gonna get to. I hate Ridley Gregg because he's just, everyone hates Ridley Gregg. Let's just be honest. But I would love to have Ridley Gregg on my team. I think Landon Sim is similar to a Ridley Gregg. I don't think his point production is there because again he's still kind of young. He's in the AHL right now, getting some reps in. But again, like that's someone who could potentially make the Leafs lineup next year, and he could have an impact. Maybe you don't need a guy like McCarron on your fourth line. You can put a guy like Sim there. I think Pizzetta could still have a good shot at making this team next year because of the energy and physicality he brings. The thing is, you can't put him on a line with Yarncroke and Quillen, two guys who aren't very physical. They're different people. You need to have a line of guys that can play the right way. You want a fourth line. Lawton's offensively inclined. I think he can check. You got Joshua who can do the same thing. And then, you throw Pez on there. You don't need McCarron. I threw McCarron in there because he's a free agent. And I think he would be an upgrade to Pizzetta. But I'm perfectly fine with Pizzetta being on the fourth line. I think you need to have a tough guy on the team. Just look at all the other teams in the league.
Now, again, this is just my opinion, guys. These are just guys that I think can actually help the culture of a team because these are guys that play big, they play hard every night. They have a physical element to their game. They can show up when times get tougher because they're just that type of player. They have that type of wiring in their head where they understand this is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a shit show. We got to go out there, run guys through the boards, win our board battles, play hard in front of the net, compete out there. And I think these are the guys that can help. We haven't had a bunch of them that kind of play the same style of game. We would always get, one or two guys and just kind of add them to the team like we did, for example, Lawton and Joshua. But the thing is, you surround him with other players like Michelli, Waugh, who didn't really play that big, Lorenz, who doesn't play that style of game. There was like Cowan's newer, but he's starting to play. I think he's starting to play the right brand of hockey. But then you got other guys like fucking Yarncroke, who I absolutely hate. You're not gonna have a team that plays the same if it's so staggered. You need to have guys, at least 4 or 5 guys that play the exact same way because our star players don't play that way. Matthews isn't that type of player. Willie's not that type of player. Even like Johnny, he's a little bit more physical and plays a little bit of a rougher game at times, but again, he's not the same as like a Coyle who makes you hate every time you're on the ice because he plays very, very hard, heavy. Same with Marchment. Same thing with Perry. Like, again, these are guys that you can throw on each line and multiple of them on each line that can actually help the team. And again, this is just my opinion on it, but I think this is the right way to go. Again, if you're not making a big signing, if you're not going to sign a big fish, you're just going to go out there on the free agency market like Barry Trotz did and just sign a bunch of players. Hopefully not like that, where some of them paid off, some of them didn't, but you get what I mean. Just go after some guys that you know that are going to play the game the right way. But again, that's it for this one, though. I don't know what else I can really say on this side of things. We'll see what they do in the off season. We got to see who the president and potential GM is going to be. So we'll see what happens there. But that's it for this one, though, guys. We got a game tonight against the Islanders, so we'll see how that goes. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.